Hello. I've got the window open, so if you hear any of the neighborhood dogs or loud motorcycles, that's what it's from. But I've got a new cover that I did the art for on this very channel. The people that were here got to watch me actually do the artwork, and it wasn't originally going to be a cover. It was originally just me helping promote my buddy Joe's book because he and I have been friends for a while, and I actually did in his very first New Zodiacs book. I actually did a pinup for it too, right there. You can actually see how much my work has changed over, a few years. If you look at the two just renditions of the character. It's me in 2014, so it's 8 years old. It's a long time ago. Hey, Jay. But yeah, these will be at Colorado Springs, and from what I'm told, there will be some in the VIP bags and some at the show store. I will not have them at my booth, but Joe and I will be happy to sign them for anyone that picks one up or gets one. This is the page from last week that we started. I actually finished it over my lunch break. All I had left was a little bit of inking down here. Got a little bit of erasing that I need to do just to finish it off. I actually want to just fill. But yeah, that's the. Sorry to hear it, bud. I had it. It's not fun. My biggest recommendation is do whatever you can do to stay hydrated. I pounded Pedialyte for a week. I drank one of those giant bottles a day, and it honestly made me feel better. And I just made sure to eat and take my vitamins every day. Lots and lots of liquids, man, and I hope you feel better soon. But you're stuck at home, so you can watch my stupid stream here, and I can try to make you feel better, I guess. Hey, Jonathan. But yeah, that's the inked page. We started with the penciling here. Yeah, I know, man. Sorry to hear that. Feel better, man. I did no prelims for this, so we're just going to do one right here. It's the Books of Magic, so I thought if we had, Morpheus, there's the most space here. Just holding a book. And then having cool lines that go to the back. We did something like that. Hey, I figured, you're gonna run out of Netflix at some point. Yeah, I figured, I watched the first episode, which I liked, and I read the book pretty hardcore back in the day. I actually read the book The Dreaming, which was a spin-off from Sandman, and it focused on like Goldie and Cain and Abel and a lot of the supporting characters, and I really liked that book. I did. I thought it was tremendous, and it had beautiful Dave McKean covers, and I didn't read how many issues of that did it. I mean, it ran for like 4 or 5 years. Trying to get my inspiration together. I just haven't been feeling it today. It had kind of a rough stretch, so I wish it wasn't. but part of the whole new formatting of this streaming was that, I've got to do it every week no matter what. So I'm going to put more of just myself out there instead of just doing like a performance. Yeah, if it's new for you, I mean, the production value is great. Like the special effects are, top notch for Netflix, and the acting in the first episode was very good. So I think I'll be interested to hear your take coming at it fresh. So it was an important book. It was a really important book, and Neil has been quoted many times as that it was the book that got a more diverse audience to go into comic book stores. It got more women to read comics, or at least give them a try, and into stores. And I can attest to having worked in a comic book store that it was a book that had tons of readers, but it definitely had the most diverse group of readers out of all of our pull customers, and the people that read it would love to come in and talk about it. And they talked about the story, they talked about the art, we would talk about the issues. It was a really fun experience when those books were coming out, and then the trades were always in print, so people could jump on the first trade at any time. That Preludes and Nocturnes trades. Well, Jonathan, if it helps any, it's a really accessible story. It's a really interesting story, and it's honestly like it doesn't fall prey to like most of the comic book tropes that you see. And I can understand if she isn't a big fan of the comic book superhero show, because they're all within a window of entertainment value. Oh, hey, Daryl. Thanks very much. And thanks for the kind words the other day. That was very nice of you to take the time to toss a comment on my post. And this is just another one of those sketch covers that, like, I picked it up off the shelf when it was new, and I was like, "Oh, I'll do it eventually." And to me, one of the single perfect issues of any comic book, and I mean this, like, it's a perfect comic book, is issue 50, the Ramadan issue drawn by P. Craig Russell. It is a perfect comic book. And what I mean by that is it's not just like this very good story. It's not just a very good piece of artwork. It's not just one thing. It is the culmination of two highly skilled craftspeople in the field that know how comic books work, in Craig Russell and Neil Gaiman. And you see the way that Craig um, draws the panels, and he does things with his syncopation and like the pacing and everything, and the way his visual narrative language that he had mastered since drawing comics going back into the 70s. It's just like it's a phenomenal comic book. I can't recommend it enough. Like, that's one of those. I've bought, it's one of the very few books where I've bought multiple copies and just given them to people. Like if I used to see them occasionally in the dollar bin. Anytime I saw them in like the $1 or $2 bin, I'd buy it and then just give it to someone. I'm just trying to have a little fun this evening. Sandman, you can have fun with textures and line, and the beautiful Sam Keith and Mark Dringenberg and Malcolm Jones and like Jill Thompson, and it's got a varied artistic history. And to me, there's no one definitive Morpheus or Dream or any members of the Endless. Like so many great artists worked on that stuff. But other than that, lately, I actually I can tell you because they posted it. I will be hosting a panel at Colorado Springs. I'm actually hosting the Jerry Conway and Mike Barron Punisher retrospective panel, and I'm a little nervous, but I'm doing way more research than I probably need. I picked up the entirety of most of Barron. I would say 2/3 of Barron's run, and I'd already read most of Jerry's stuff on the Punisher because he didn't write that much in the way of Punisher stories. It's on the website. I believe it is Saturday morning. Been working on my questions to ask, and it's a Q&A, but anytime I've been involved in a Q&A, like I hosted the Bob Hall panel last year, I always prepare enough to have to talk the whole time, um, and then cut it as needed. Well, I mean, I have never been shy of saying that I am not the biggest fan of the characters of the Punisher. I'm very, very critical of that character. So, um, obviously, I won't be coming at it from like that fanboyish mentality. I'll have some real questions for them, like obviously, I think that people want to hear like where the origins of the character came from because you have the person who wrote Amazing 129, they're on the panel, and and Mike Barron created Microchip. He created all kinds of stuff, and I like I think Barron is a talented writer. He wrote Nexus, but I have a feeling that maybe we don't see eye to eye on everything. but I will definitely want to. I would really be interested to hear them both. Their perspectives on, like, what they think people get right from the stories, what people miss, what they were intending to from the start, how they got the start on the book, all sorts of things that fans of the character that I think would be really excited to hear about. And that's who I assume would show up, and it's going to obviously focus on the comic books. It's probably all I can say without getting into too much trouble. Just pulling up some reference for. I think I have issue 1 right here. Yep, there it is. And that was actually not my original copy. I actually did a signing at a store. And sometimes a shopkeeper will give you some store credit. And I got that with the store credit from an all-day signing years ago now. Just pulling up reference. Yeah, there's the P. Craig Russell Sandman. I mean, it's perfect. Not much, Jay. Just me working. Yeah, there's a page from issue 50. Yeah. Good for you, Jay. Whatever it takes to get you through. I watched a whole bunch of old movies on like Tubi and YouTube's free movies. They had like the classic Hercules movies from back in the day, like the 1950s and George Reeves movie, or Steve Reeves. That was the bodybuilder guy. George Reeves was Superman. So many famous Reeve derivations in genre fiction. Chris Reeves, George Reeves, Steve Reeves. Tobacco is one of my favorites. Jay, you're gonna be okay. And I don't know if they had you go in, but like if you're gonna get like those antivirals or anything, you got to go like um, as soon as you test positive. It's down to just the three of us. I really like Reservation Dogs. We've been watching that. I've got an episode to catch up on. What We Do in the Shadows, I really like. Um, those have been the shows recently. We're watching Letterkenny on Hulu. Just gotta get some. Oh, that hand just looks wrong. Hello, art chemist. How you doing? Excellent. There we go. That looks much better than the last one. Looks like it's actually holding the book. That's a plus, right? That's what like the big kid artists do. I'm hanging in there, man. Sorry, I'm just hanging in there. It's middle of a long week this week, but working on the sketch cover. Got a show coming up, convention in Colorado Springs that I'll be a guest at. Hopefully that'll be a good show. It was a good show last year. Good attendance, made some money, saw some friends. That's all you can hope for. That's all I hope for on a trip. If I can, at a convention, make a few bucks and see people I like, it's a show worth doing. Since this is a relatively simple sketch, I'm going to spend some time making the book more elaborate, considering I have quite a few antique books. Yeah, it's a good show. The area was very nice. Went to a giant park there. Been there a few times. Called the Garden of the Gods. It's like a big mountain range park thing that you can walk through. That was really cool. That was one time when I actually for once got to stay an extra day after a show. Usually it's like you're at the convention center in the hotel for 3 days, and that's pretty much it. And you get back on the plane and go home. Piece is starting to come together. You know, most people know that my work really doesn't look like my work until the ink is down. I do wonder when people start to see, like, if people watching me now, like, there's a number of folks that pop in pretty regularly. I do kind of wonder, like, at what point do you really see, like, where it comes together? Is it the blue squiggly lines? Or you're like, oh, I can see where this is going? Is it the pencil? Or is it not till it's done? It's always interesting to hear how people perceive your work. My wife has told me on more than one occasion that, like, she doesn't know what I'm drawing until it's mostly done. It's not a gigantic show. It's not as big as Denver or one of those like, you know, uh, gigantic. I would say it's like a mid-sized show. It's a nice mid-sized show. They got a great lineup of artists this year, though. They got Chaikin, they got Finch, they got John Lucas, they got Pat Broderick will be there. My buddy Chris Campana will be there. So Jay Lee, Jerry Conway, Barron. Yeah, it's very solid artist lineup this year. Rubenstein will be there. Keith Williams. Um, yeah, you've seen enough by now, Jonathan. It's like those don't look like the alien scribbles I'm used to. I don't pencil very tightly, so I can understand if people don't see what I'm doing on the pencil stage. I used to obsess over it, but it was fruitless. So this is going to be crosshatch, so there's not going to be white back here. Crosshatch. Actually, I think we're going to need extend that a little bit. Yeah, in order to be able to see his hair. All right, well, let's start to have some fun with some ink. I'll spend a lot of time on the book, and you're going to see that I'm going to do a lot of drawing with the ink stage, just because I want to try to finish this tonight. Sorry, I don't have a lot of gusto for stories tonight, so it's not like the podcasty type episode. It's just me drawing.
stand up.
Did I check out the milestone? Oh, I did. I did check that out. Um, I read the Blood Syndicate back in the day, and I thought that was a cool book. Um, and obviously, big fan of Dennis Cowan, going all the way back to Power Man and Iron Fist, and his work on the Question. And it was a very significant moment when that company hit. I remember when it happened. I was just a kid. I was not working or anything. It was like I was the target audience for trying to get people to try these new books, and I totally did. All the polybag stuff, like hardware and Static. I think I still have my original copy of Static from like buying it at the drugstore. But the only one I stuck with was was Blood Syndicate. I don't know. It was the team book. I like team books. It had new characters, folks that I'd never seen before in a comic, and it was just I don't know. Well, I dug the artwork. I dug the writing. Icon, like I read all the yeah. Icon was the other one. Icon and Rocket. Did you read that stuff back in the day, Jonathan? We're about the same age, so. Oh, cool. Yeah, I picked up a couple issues of like the Milestone one shot where they changed when the Big Bang happened. Yeah, Reggie Hudlin, he's one of the writers. He definitely has a different voice than Dwayne when it comes to how he writes. So it's a little different, but yeah, it's cool. I read his Black Panther run. Dug that. Of course, it helps having a killer artist like Ken Lashley on the book. I gotta be honest, I haven't been to a comic store in a little while for new books. Last time I was there, I picked up a mostly old books. The new books I bought, I think I bought two. Um, Picked up Gambit, the Chris Claremont X-Men issue. Um, and I was, I was hoping it would like totally grab me and I'd be sucked in, but the first issue didn't grab me. So I will check out the next issue, but we'll see. Yeah, and I gotta pull. I know I feel the same way, and it's not true with like creators. Like there are definitely creators whose work I follow in the new stuff, but like more and more, I just can't just randomly pick up a just a mainstream intellectual property just because of the character. I picked up one other book, but I'm not going to name it. I didn't. I really didn't like it. So, um, any other new stuff that I read? Yeah, it's been mostly old stuff, and I've been reading more novels lately. And honestly, like with all the prep work going on for Colorado Springs, there's been very just little free time. And I don't want to lose touch with what's going on. I don't want to be one of those crusty old, I only read old comics people. So, I'll keep trying to check out new stuff. I mean, like, I'll check anything Mirka Andolfo's working on. I'll check out, there's just tons of folks out there. Part of it is just I don't get to the shop very often, and I don't have a pull list right now, if I'm being perfectly honest. It's because I don't have the regular disposable money to spend on that stuff. Yeah, I hear that. And I haven't been buying any expensive stuff. I did buy a trade, just a $20 essential trade to read Mike Barron's work on Punisher to get ready for that panel. I always do research before I do a panel, and I never want to not be prepared. And I had only read the first three issues of the original ongoing Punisher series, and Yeah, and that was it. Like I was never a huge Punisher guy, so it had to come up here. So it goes. Yeah, I've always dug the essentials. 20 bucks, you get a big stack of comics. You can see the pure black and white artwork. All about them. Pushed them hard when I worked at the comic book store, and people loved them. They were always my counterpoint, especially the sales figures on them, to people who always say, "Oh no, no, comics have to be in color. They have to be in color." They really don't. Not if they're good. Especially since comics are so niche, and also the proliferation of manga has made black and white comics for young people the norm in much the case. Yeah, the old rampaging Hulk magazines. Yeah, the and you had Simonson doing the layouts for Alcala on that stuff. That was a cool combo. Simonson also did one issue of John Carter, Warlord of Mars, that Rudy Nebres did the finishes over. It's always interesting to see what people who draw so differently do when they're teamed up like that. And in the case of the Nebres team up, like you had these Kirby dynamics that were added to Rudy's beautiful rendering. It was a very cool combination. Yeah, the early ones, but they switched to color. Not too late, much later. Had some like early Mike Zeck work in there too. So many of those 70s black and white magazines I just enjoyed the hell out of. And I know that, like, they were produced as cheaply as possible, and all of, the majority of the work was done by, like, a handful of the folks from, the Philippines. You had the great work by Tony De Zuniga and, Rudy Nebres, Ernie Chan, Nestor Redondo. Over the years, like, depending on who I met, some people were mad that they outsourced the work. Like, some of the Americans were mad about it, but man, they just did such good work. Yeah, man, it'll be good to be there. Looking forward to seeing you and all the nice folks out there. I'm happy to report I did make it up on the website. So people who are doubting, go take a look. Oh yeah, for sure. And did I keep it? I did. Yep, kept the original. Yeah, it's around here somewhere. It's over there. I can't reach it right now, but it's here. I promise. Do I still have the original for the? Yep, I have all my Turtles original inks. Some of the layouts I've sold over the years that are in pencil, but I have kept the finished inks because I light box it to a clean sheet of paper, and because I never know if I'm ever going to get to draw, these characters again. You know, I I explained it to someone one day that you know, in the art business, you put so many hours at the table, you miss out on going and doing stuff. So you know, some people have memories of like going to a barbecue. I have this piece of paper that I remember from starting it on the 4th of July. That kind of stuff. I've only sold a couple of covers over the years. Like one I sold to my pal Brian when he's like the biggest Tick fan in the world, and he basically paid for me to be able to pay for moving at one point. And I also haven't moved them because like I've had plenty of offers from like dealers and stuff, and I've seen my friends sell their covers to dealers, and then the dealers like a week later double the price that they were asking for, and I try to get top dollar if I ever sell any of my covers. Like I know what my market is, and I try to keep it right around there. That's not to say I haven't given the friend discount to some people over the years, but with covers, it's a little different for me. And I usually don't sell a cover unless I get to do another cover of that character. And then I pick the one that I want to sell. Like if I get to do another Red Sonja cover, then maybe I would sell the original for either the last one or the next one, depending on which one I like better. It's gonna be tough to top liking the last one though for Red Sonja because I got to basically just do whatever I wanted, and that's a very rare thing for me. Yeah, also like I don't own any covers that I collect artwork, but I can't afford to buy covers from other creators. I actually have ponied up and bought some of the artwork that people have done for my books. Like John Lucas is going to be at Colorado Springs, and I have the cover that he did for me. I have some of the pinups that like Rich Buckler did one for me before he passed away, obviously. Rennie Cologne. If somebody does a piece for me, then I usually pony up and buy both the publishing rights and the original. But like as far as like walking down up to a booth and be like, what covers you got? I'll never have that kind of money. And I still have like the 51 inks. Hey, thanks for hanging out, Jonathan. Always good to talk to you, and I hope to see you soon, man. Congrats on those great art pickups. Thanks for sharing those. Really excellent pages. Excellent, excellent pages. Never what? Sell my covers and stuff? I've only sold one, two, and it's only been when I've like desperately needed the money. But as far as walking up to someone else's table and having the money to buy their cover artwork, I don't have that kind of money. Yet, yes. Just having a tough motivational day today, Douglas. It's the crushing weight of capitalism on my soul, I guess. I don't know. Overall, just kind of a malaise of a day as far as my inspiration goes. That's why I'm not doing any sort of crazy layout or anything on this. It's just basically a bust. I'm holding the book. They do happen, but we've got to pro our way through them, right? You got to be a professional and do your work. It wasn't quite one of those like I'm not getting out of bed days. It was just it started out okay. It's stuff happens, and then it just got progressively more meh as the day went on. You survived C2E2, I see, from you typing here, or someone stole your phone. Could be either. Um, I don't know any of your personal information, like address or, to be honest, don't know your birthday. Um, I rely on Facebook to tell me those things anymore. I believe you, man. I've heard that from multiple folks at shows, and I'd say Gem City was a little weird for me this year, but well, I hope you sold some stuff. So at least you made a bit of money. I hope. Good. Excellent. I'm glad to hear you made some dough at the show. I'm sure you'll get it back. It's rusty. I'm sure you'll get your sell your your pitch sale back. Yeah, I noticed that too at Gem City for sure. By looking at the number of folks that are watching, there's got to be a few lurkers in here. No, I won't be at Cincinnati. I've got Colorado Springs, not this weekend, but the following one, and then hopefully Baltimore, and then Rhode Island. And then Rhode Island's the last thing I got scheduled for this year in November. This, ladies and gentlemen, is why they invented Zipatone. Hey, thanks for hanging out. Good luck getting up at 3 a.m. I'll see you about 10 days or so. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to finish this one up tonight. Took longer than I thought it would, but hey. Yeah, I had all sorts of plans for white outlines and all kinds of spatter and stuff. So hopefully, I'll have time tomorrow, maybe on my lunch break, to finish it off. Thanks, Douglas. Yeah, I'm going to add like the little designs and patterns on his cloak, and then I'm going to add that texture that I like to do that makes it look more like a canvas texture, but it's a horizontal line. I did a Mercy sketch cover that was on there. I liked how it came out. I used it for like old timey wool textures. Uh, try to make sure that the cross hatching is tight enough to where it doesn't look just like lines on paper, where it has a little bit of purpose to it. Mm. Yeah, it's just another thing that makes it take longer, and nobody except us notices. I was doing a sketch cover at one point, and was doing it at a show, and how I do them is I don't take any money up front. I take down their name and their phone number, and I text them when the piece is done, and they pay when they pick it up. Um, I had one fellow who was real mad at me taking like 3 hours to really do what I thought was a nice piece. He was like mad where he like threw the money at me in a very condescending way. It's the rarity. Usually, when I put the time in, people are like, "Wow, you spent forever on it. It looks great." Or, I even if it doesn't look great, they say that they like it. So, you know, they appreciate the work. Yeah, Frank, the only time I insist on any like money up front at a show, especially, is if somebody's asking me to draw some sort of likeness of their family or something. Like, then if somebody asks me to draw a character anybody's ever heard of, if I can try to sell it and recoup the time and the money. But if someone asks me to draw, like, hey, can you draw my kid as Superman? Then I'll ask for money up front. It's just because there's nothing I can do with it if they ghost me, which happens, rarely, but it happens. And I think it happens to pretty much everybody. I've seen Larry Hama post sketches that people didn't pick up for sale on eBay and stuff. So, but he knows if it's a GI Joe character drawn by the guy that crafted that entire universe for the most part, that he'll make his money. I just don't think anybody would want it. I did do a likeness picture recently for a pal. I usually turn them down, but it was a friend, and I had to warn them up front. I was like, just so you know, it's a cartoon likeness. It's not going to be a photorealistic situation here. I also just don't want people standing around, having to wait on me or not knowing when they're going to get their piece. There've been plenty of times where like I'll finish a piece on Saturday and it's a person that's there for the whole weekend and they're, checking out panels or whatever. And they'll just swing by on Sunday and pick it up at the show, which is great for me. It just works out. It's a system that I like. And I usually give them my number in case for some reason, like, they say I need to be taken off the list because I got to leave or I spent all my money or whatever, as long as I don't get to the piece, it's no harm, no foul. Just try to be cool. With all the changing of what's popular at the moment, as far as like the TV shows and the movies, I'll be real interested to see if that changes the characters that people request. Because for a long time, people's requests I thought pretty closely mimicked anything that wasn't something that I had worked on. If someone comes up that likes the turtles or the tick, obviously like that's why they're asking me to do it. But usually the people who are, don't necessarily know my work and they're getting a commission just of a character they like. I've noticed that, for many years they followed the like the MCU releases or whatever. Have you noticed that, Doug? Do people that don't ask for Arsenic Lullaby, they ask for stuff that's like, if Falcon and the Winter Soldier came out, they're asking for that. That's just something that I've noticed for my work. Maybe it's just me. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I just know, I've seen you sketching on your books with a sketch in them. It shows. I didn't know if people asked like you to do stuff in a sketchbook or anybody that was that dug your like your Valiant covers or any of that stuff that you'd done come up and ask you for like I think you did Exo Man War or was it Bloodshot? I'm sorry, I don't remember. I know you did a couple for them. Oh, okay. I mean, I figured, since you've done plenty of stuff outside of Arsenic Lullaby. Now, see, this is a hard edge where this cross hatching is. I may want to here and there just soften it up in a couple of places, especially up here by adding more lines. But it's 10 o'clock. I'm not going to rush the whiteout effects and such. I still have to do all the detail I plan to do on the book cover, and have all kinds of spatter and fun stuff that patterns on his cloak. Like drawing little moons and stars and stuff. Um, but yeah, that's where we get to tonight. I will. Yeah, some people have like their character that they collect, and they always ask for one. They have like a whole sketchbook of that character, which is kind of neat to see because then you get to see people all their different takes on it. But that's it for me tonight. I will hope everyone has a nice evening. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you next Wednesday. And next Wednesday will be the road to Colorado Springs Comic Con, and yeah, I have no idea what I'll be drawing next week, but we'll see what the schedule says. And I hope you have a good night. Bye.